Thank you for that introduction. My name is Delfina, and today I'll be talking about the importance of being in activism, types of activism, how to start, and how to take it long term. Because during those years, I've seen a lot of activists stop doing activism, and we should care about that and see how we can arrange that and have more activists. So as I said, my name is Delfina. I'm from Barcelona, Spain. I've been vegan for 10 years and active for 3. I organized Barcelona Animal Save. I've been active with Animal Save through the last 6 years already. And during those years, I've tried a lot of types of activism. I will just go around some of the types, so not to talk about me, but also so you can visually see some types also of activism. I've done outreach, marches, disruptions with direct action, creating content for social media, talks, volunteering at sanctuaries, direct action with Meet the Victims, direct action everywhere, with Animal Rebellion in the UK, undercover investigations, rescues, and performances. Especially I love performances because I've studied dance and graphic design, and I love everything related with arts, and I really like to put that input in the activism we do in Barcelona and everywhere I go. Like, for example, creating signs and sticking them around, dancing and performing. With Barcelona, we do a lot of different type of performances to attract people, because sometimes they feel like art is easier to see, and that's a way to catch their attention and make them get closer, and being them who comes to us and asks questions. I'll just quickly go. And I'll start by asking you which type of adjectives usually the newspapers or people that are not vegan, and it doesn't have to be especially vegan activists, but in general, which adjectives they put to the word activist or activism? Radical. Terrorists. Toxic. Militants. Aggressive. Okay, I put some of these that you said. Radical, aggressive, but we all know that that is not always the case in general, and we have to take those adjectives away from that word, right, and create other images from activists. But what is really activism, vegan activism? Is doing everything we can within our possibilities to end animal injustice and change the human perception of other animals as properties. So it doesn't mean chaining yourself to a slaughterhouse. It can be that, but it's not always that, right? We have a lot of type of activism. It's doing everything that is possible within our possibilities to change that injustice. So I'll give you an example. Hypothetical example. Imagine yourself in the street and there's a person kicking a dog in front of you. You have, in this case, you have 3 options. The first one is seeing that as normal, natural, and you agree with it. You don't feel that's an injustice, and maybe even you decide to participate in that and joining that person. Option 2 is get angry, seeing that as unmoral, injustice, that should not happen. You get angry, you get upset, you don't want to participate in that act, but you decide to leave. Another option is to act. You feel the same as option 2, you feel upset, you don't like what you see, you feel that's an injustice, you want to stop it, and you do something to stop it. There are a lot of varieties of things you can do to stop that. Different people will do different things. You can call the police, you can act yourself and stop the person, you can shout, you can record so you can then go to the police and so they can find that person and judge them. You can take the dog, rescue it, take care of it, so take care of him or her, sorry. Take care of them and do something to stop that injustice. So why is vegan activism important? So following a moral obligation is the right thing to do, which would be vegan, right? But creates no change. Activism is the necessary minimum that we should do if we want to see a change. Most animals are being viewed as properties. Most animals are being used and exploited right now. And from their point of view, it's urgent to stop that injustice as soon as possible. So to create that change and to help ending that injustice, we have to act. So you are needed and you are important to create that change. Animals count on you, and the sooner you get active, the better. So I want to explain a little story about myself when I was little. I wanted to be like Lisa Simpson and defend animals. My primary school was next to a bullfighting arena in Barcelona, and at that point it was active, and I used to go with my mom to the protest to try to stop that. So one day after a protest I was really upset, and I was going to sleep, and I was talking with my mom, and I was like, I really want everyone to know in my school about this. We have that bullfighting arena next to our school, and no one is talking about it. I want it to stop, and that all the school joins me and stop this, right? So my mom said that the process would be difficult, but we could do something to try to help and create that change. So what we end up doing, well, what I wanted to do is put signs all over the school, and I could imagine all the school full of signs. But at the end, what we end up doing is I convinced my friends to do poems and write things about bullfighting, doing drawings and everything. And we put them in the magazine of the school. And also my mom did a debate with a bullfighter, and that was all written in that magazine. That was read by all the 500 families from the school. So what I mean by this is that an individual, even if it's a small individual of 8 years old, can create change. So all of us can create change, even if it's a small one. So if it's not you, who? And if it's not now, when are we gonna create that change? I sometimes feel that we are aware of the urgency of this problem, the urgency that what animals are going through, but we sometimes fail to acknowledge the power we have as individuals to create that change. So I encourage all of us to start looking inside to see what we can do to create that change. So now I'll be talk about a bit of the types of activism that we can find. As I said before, activism doesn't have to be always chaining yourself to a slaughterhouse or doing direct action, which I think is an incredible type of activism, but maybe it's not for everyone. And activism, I say it more as a broad fun of different types of activism, and we have to find our place in there. So this is like a list, a small list of types of activism that occurs to me, and that can be, for example, creating content for social media, street activism, outreach. If you're a lawyer, maybe legal advice for NGOs, for activists, going to marches, volunteering at sanctuaries, donating to sanctuaries. For example, if you're an artist, creating illustrations and raising funds for sanctuaries and NGOs. If you know how to do photography or video, you can participate in NGOs and help them with their photos and videos. planning events like this one so we can gather together and create strategies to end this injustice. And there are many, many types of activism. I couldn't put them all in one page, but we can all find what fits best for us. So some recommendations on how to start and how to do it long term would be try different types of activism. There are too many, and it's good always to try different ones, because sometimes you have an idea of what it is, but it's different to do it yourself and being involved and trying it. There's nothing wrong in trying all stuff. Then the important thing is also to find your place where you can feel comfortable, something that you feel you can do long term and you're not gonna burn out the next day, right? It's something, a place where you feel comfortable and that you can do it during a long time. So for me, this one is like a small formula that we could use, that is mixing our passion. And passion, I mean everything that we know how to do, that we're passionate about, our hobbies, things that we like doing or that we're good at. Maybe we don't like it that much, but we're really good at something. We can mix that with action, taking it to action. And always remember to take care of mental and physical care so we can also take it long term. An important thing also is to keep the motivation up. I believe maybe going to sanctuaries can help people to reconnect with animals, seeing the happy side, right? To see them free and happy, doing belly rubs to pigs. You know, that always brings a bit of joy and also creates community between activists, and that helps us to keep the motivation up. Also meeting with other activists, like events like this, or just going out to have dinner together, talking, expressing, having that community where you can talk about good things and also bad things, because sometimes we're experiencing the same things, and it's always good to talk them with other people that understand what you're going through. And the third one, maybe you feel it's a bit weird, because sometimes that takes people down, but for myself, for example, going to vigils helps me to see the victims face to face and feeling that community behind me, that they support me, and that I see the victims and I know that I'm fighting for them, and I have that little reminder for whom I'm fighting for, and that brings me personally a lot of motivation to keep doing what I do and dedicating my life to animals. So I encourage all of us always to reflect on how we can improve. So just not get comfortable on what you're doing, but also reflect, should I do it this way? Or maybe I can improve this side, or maybe people will understand it better if I do it this way instead of this one. Listening to the feedback that your colleagues give you, ask for feedback as well. I know it's hard sometimes because the ego also gets on the way, but it's good to have that feedback and ask for it and reflect, and so we can improve and get better in what we do. Also, I encourage all of us to give a correct message of veganism, so other ones can really understand, non-vegans can really understand what veganism is. I don't know if you feel that non-vegans still don't understand what veganism is. They mix it, they think it's a diet, or they put other definitions to what veganism is. So it's our role to make people, non-vegans, understand what is it, so they know the importance of it. So veganism is an ethical principle that other animals have the moral right to live free from exploitation, from human exploitation, and it's our moral obligation to live without exploiting other animals for our benefit. Veganism is not a diet for health, a diet for the environment. It's not a personal choice, a lifestyle that you can choose, or a trend. All of these definitions just give the sense that veganism is not for the animals, doesn't give the message that veganism is a moral obligation for everyone. For example, if we talk about health or environment, we're really focusing on a plant-based diet. We're not talking about veganism. For example, myself viewing the other animals as individuals and not property doesn't benefit my health, anyone's health, or the planet. So, and also, for example, if we talk about veganism as a lifestyle, we're giving the message that it's a personal choice, it's something that we're doing for ourselves, and that's not veganism, right? So now I encourage all of us to do a small group activity, and it's maybe with the same person that is sitting next to you, 2-3 people. We can do small groups and talk about what is our passion, things that we like doing, what are our greatest gifts, abilities, qualities, what is our job, what are our studies, anything that we can give to the movement to see what can we use in the vegan activism. Because sometimes it's easier if another person tells you, I believe you're really good at this, maybe you can mix it with this or do this, and sometimes it's easier if another person say to you. So if you want, you can start answering some of these questions together, and I know we can stop in a few minutes. Hello. The 3 minutes already passed. So we want to wrap up those conversations. Okay. Does someone want to share something that they have learned from their partner, or something they want to share? Like an example, or maybe something that you already do and that can inspire other ones.
Hi.
Hi.
So we were talking about I study veterinary medicine, and I say oh, it's my passion, animals in general. But then we were also thinking you don't have to study or do anything in your normal life that has to do with animals. It just shows that everyone can be an activist. You don't have to be a marine biologist, a biologist, vet tech, veterinarian. You can just have your regular job that you love, or you can be you can study maths and you can still be an animal rights activist. So I think that's really wonderful to show people that you don't have to fit in the vegan standard, let's say. A lot of people have this stereotype of how vegans should look or what we should do, but no, it's just a very diverse movement. So yeah, I think it's great to have had this activity. Thank you so much for organizing.
Thank you.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about our relationship with animals in general as being vegan, and we mentioned that you don't have to love every single animal according to fight for them or just to respect their existence. I brought an example that I think it's annoying when there is a fly in my bedroom because it sums and it's making it hard for me to sleep. But I don't want any harm to cause the fly, so what we're trying to do is trying to get it out the window, basically. So, for the reason that I don't love the fly in my bedroom, I still respect its existence, and we agreed upon that's the value of veganism itself. So you don't have to love animals, but just respect their existence.
Yeah, totally. Someone else?
There's a lot of things that interest me and I would want to put into practice to help liberate more animals, but I think what I found that made most sense to me is draw lines between different forms of oppression, because I have encountered, also in many years of activism with you, Delphi and stuff, that there are a lot of single-issue-minded people, and our struggle is very entangled with people, including animals, of all sorts of different experiences at the intersection of many oppression. So for me, it's working with finding those links and making them more intersectional. Also, like in line of Christopher's talk, which was really inspiring earlier.
Okay, so if it's okay, I'll keep going. I want to remark that just that everything we do, anything we choose to do, always bear in mind for whom we're doing that activism. We're not doing it for us, for the followers, or for our ego. We're doing it for the rest of the animals. So we always have to have that small, like we're humans, we have ego, but we have to have that reminder that we're doing it for them. So each revolution, each social transformation has been possible thanks to those who chose to act and create that change. So don't be afraid to be on the right side of history. And thank you so much. So I think we have 8 minutes for questions. For me, I can answer, but any of you can jump and answer as well. So I don't know if someone has a question. Hi.
Sorry, I'm so bad at speaking and I'm so nervous, but I really want to say is that, okay, I have many things to say, but I try to be short.
It's okay.
First of all, the one you just said, we are doing this for these others, not for us. I feel this is, I don't know how to explain, but what I do is kind of opposite. That I'm doing this activism for myself because our liberation is connected. So I feel this is it's just something I wanted to share. But I have this question about veganism. You just said, okay, veganism is not this, not this, and not this. The reason you have to say this is we already have this image of veganism being this and this and this. On the top of it is very capitalistic vibe and image. And despite of all of this, why would you still like keep this and encourage people to just go vegan? And okay, with this, I have one experience I want to share, and whenever I think about it, I start crying. So I'm sorry. Kind of recently, this year, I went to India. Yeah, thank you. In India, I'm just traveling around and just participating in many different activism. And in India, I went to some vigil with the Save movement in Mumbai. I'm sorry to mention the specific places, but I was staying with the people, main organizers there, and then we went to vigil, and then we were just in the marketplace, very close to the city center. We just went there, and then there was just chicken in the cage. People can choose and then take them out and then scale them and chop them and pay. This kind of thing. And then this was very horrible. But after vigil, like when we came out and then shared the things with activists, and then one of the organizers wanted to do the disruption inside the market, and then they wanted to showed the, what is it, sign called saying like, why aren't you still not vegan? And then I was feeling like, are you serious? Like the people who inside, yeah, please don't misunderstand, I'm vegan and everything, but like, the people who are selling meat, they're, and the people who are buying the meat there, they are not the consumer, they are the people in the very low class, they are maybe delivery or like the people who eat meat, they don't have to even cook or buy these things, and then they are just having this sign, why not vegan? Inside there, I feel really like that is more frustrated than this one is actually happening. And then I wanted to talk about this with this chapter, but I have no idea how to start. And then these people who is organizing that, I was staying at their place in the house, really big house I never can afford myself, and then, yeah, all of this was really, and then in this whole thing, why would we still like talk about veganism? I'm just curious. So, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
So there were many things mentioned in all of that. That's why I mentioned it's really good to always give feedback and reflect, and as a community talk within each other to say maybe that message at that moment wasn't the best action to do. We could do it this way or that way. I understand that sometimes it's not easy to give feedback, especially if the other ones are not open or there's not like secure space where you feel that you can just express yourself or your ideas. And you also mentioned, that I did like a list, right? Like those things, I received the message like, it doesn't matter for the reason that they go vegan, right? Like the important thing is that they go vegan for the animals, right? Like I think I understood it that way. Like the important thing is that they go vegan. It doesn't matter if they do it for health or environment. Did you mean that?
More like this.
It's okay.
Yeah, no, like so, like I heard a lot out of that as well, and I think that like and correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Like let me know if I get this wrong, but like what I heard were two really important themes. Number one, vegan activism is like it is about the animals, but it is also some part of it about ourselves as well, and I think that that's consistent with the ideas that we have around like enlightened self-interest. Right? In terms of, like, I can't remember who the activist is who said this, but like, you know, my solidarity is tied up with that of every other being on this planet. And that's true. But you know, like, I am vegan for other animals, but I am also vegan for myself. I do all kinds of activism for myself. I would lose my goddamn mind, more than you've already seen me do today, if I didn't express myself in some capacity. And like really sit with and be present to the amount of outrageous injustice that is present in this world. And so like veganism is relevant to me in that terms. And I don't think that those ideas are inconsistent. Because yeah, like this is like my primary interest in vegan activism is other animals. But I also recognize that like, you know what, my liberation is tied up in that too. Just as my liberation is tied up with the liberation of transgender people, of women, of people of color around the globe. Like, you know, it is very relevant to me. And also I think that it's important for us to recognize that like even in the definition of veganism that was like, you know, that was made official in the 1970s after the founders of the vegan movement in England had talked about this, is that like, you know, it is like one of the aspects of that is for human health. It's not the primary aspect in any capacity. But they said that it is for the health of, like for our health, for the health of the planet, and for the, like, you know, and for the animals. Always centering the animals in that, and that's important. So that's number one that I heard you say. Yeah? Okay. And the other thing is culturally relevant and culturally competent activism, which is super important. right? Talking about doing activism at the right place and time. And in the story that I heard you telling, what I heard was looking at this place where animals were being tortured, and people wanting to participate in an action that was directed at people who were really extraordinarily disadvantaged in a lot of ways, and not feeling comfortable with that. And to that, I think that this is again something else that is not me saying it. I'm paraphrasing from someone that I heard it from a long time ago. We have to ask ourselves 4 questions. Whenever we're performing any type of activism, does this need to be said? Does it need to be said now? Does it need to be said by me? And can this be said with love? I can't do my finger like that. So it's 4 things. Those are all 4 questions. And if you can't get a solid yes to all of those questions, that is not your moment. That is not your moment. And so I feel like they sort of poor moments. And that didn't make you feel good. That didn't make you feel safe. And we need to be present to that. And so and that was not a good time. That was not a good that was not a good experience. And sometimes we're going to have bad experiences because we're not perfect. We're human. And we have really bad experiences. So I have not done activism perfectly. I'm not even doing it perfectly right now. And we shouldn't we should be accountable to that for that, but we also shouldn't beat ourselves up about it. That was just that sounded like a bad experience. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the thing about you do that for others. I mean I think that contains some kind of it can be just me, but I feel like it's for the people who have the resources to do whatever, and that they have this time so they can do for others. I don't know what to say, but that's how I felt in India, in that activism scene. I feel do it for. So that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, sorry, I don't know. Yeah.
I can maybe try to. What I hear you say is that sometimes when we are very focused on animal liberation as a sole issue alone, it's often coming from a privileged standpoint. Is that? I'm very sorry because this is a really interesting conversation, and I think we should continue it throughout the conference, but we have to wrap up because we have the march as well. But thank you so much for sharing. And if you want to wrap up shortly with your information and stuff, that would be great. And I'm sure you would also love to answer questions after the talk, right?
Yes, well, I wanted to say something about what you were talking, but maybe if someone wants to talk later, you can.
If you have very short, please feel free to do it, but then we just have a little shorter break. That's okay.
Just 2 things that I can take from everything we talked about is that what I mean that we're doing it for them. I understand that we get mental stability thanks to acting, and we feel that we're doing something, right? And we're not just laying on the couch and not caring. It's nice to care, and obviously it helps us. But I think it's also dangerous sometimes because what I meant before is that sometimes that even if we are not meant to, we put it in front of the other animals. And that's when I meant the ego comes in, and then we put ourselves first. And I don't mean our mental health. I mean doing it for us, and for our ego and for us. And I think that's dangerous, and we always have to bear it in mind that this movement is for them. We can take benefits from it as well, but the main goal is end that injustice and stop seeing them as property. Okay. So this is my email, Instagram, if you wanna text me or whatever. And thank you so much for being here, for getting active, and See you next time. Let's go march.